7:35, we are back from closed session. Are you ready, Justin? Just want to make sure before we start. Okay, great. All right, welcome back from closed session. Um, I have our attorney here, Ryan Potts, to report out on action from council.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So in closed session, consider potential exposure to litigation. The council has unanimously voted to direct my office to prepare a written response to Mr. Ricca within the 30-day period provided by law. Based upon my analysis of the alleged violations noted in the cure and correct demand, the council has directed me to prepare a detailed written response to Mr. Ricca describing why the alleged violations of the Brown Act lack legal merit and that the city otherwise substantially complied with the law. I will prepare that response, send it to Mr. Ricca, and the response will be publicly available after it is sent. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. All right, moving on to item number 7, adopt previous council meeting minutes. Council wish to pull any minutes?
Yes.
Or actually, does the public get to comment on the closed session? Hang on before we move.
Comment, usually they comment before.
No, great, thank you. All right, moving on, continuing with item number 7. Does anyone have questions on the minutes?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
I think that there was
A date swap on the heading.
on one of them.
Yes, yes, we caught that. I've got 15 phone calls today alone about
Oh,
it.
well,
So that's
fantastic.
covered.
Okay. So yeah, we're not living in the future.
No, unfortunately, or the
Okay.
past as
Right.
it were.
Okay. Well, whatever it was. Okay, that's great. I think that first of all, I want to thank Laura for doing a fantastic job of the minutes. This is a preference of mine to abbreviate, summarize some of the content of the discussions. Like that's just for volume's sake, because these are extremely detailed word by word, and it's a little bit much for me to try to absorb. That being said, we had on Tuesday, May 19th, the header indicates that it was a regular council meeting. I think it was special. On Wednesday, May 21st, it indicates that it was a regular council meeting. I believe that was special again. And then you corrected the header for Tuesday, June 10th, being again, this was a special meeting, not a regular meeting, so that would need to be adjusted within the content of the minutes. I think that there's a couple of minor, there are some name misspellings and variations. I think Mayor Swatsky is referred to as Major in one. No, I mean, this is, it's just typo stuff, right? And then accessible versus accessible, and levy being spelled the other levy way. Just silly stuff. It's not, but again, thank you for your very good detailed attention to detail work. My preference would be summarizing, and I have a vision of something similar to what Arcata is doing with their minutes, summarizing, and then when you click on the link for the minutes, the video pops up immediately for you to be able to visualize. I know that's a dream, but it makes it very, very kind of, it works for me. But that's just my preference. And again, thank you very much for your work. That's all I have.
Great, thank you. Any chat?
Yes, you will find on that evening when Dave Farrell was here, his spelling of his last name Feral, just like the cat. Farrell.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Elise? Or Kat, did you have any others?
Nothing worth fighting for. It's all. Yeah.
Elise?
I made a bunch of notes for you of names and things like that. So, but I only was able to do that for the 27th. I didn't have time to look at June 10th. So I will hand you my copies of those with all that information. I kind of am back and forth on the idea that Michelle brought up about abbreviating a bit. On the one hand, I'm like, oh, so much of this stuff is so important and it's great that we have all of it. But then it does get a little overwhelming. So I don't know how we'll do it or when we'll do it, but at some point we probably need to find some sort of a happy medium in there.
I like,
If the rest of the council is agreeable to that. But that's just a thought that I had. I mean, and again, in a lot of respects, I love all the detail.
I wanted to share with you, before you were here, we had a similar type conversation with our attorney, who advised that a more streamlined, kind of almost outline approach is preferred, that we will still, the text in the conversation is preserved within the video if people want to dive deeper. So I don't know if he's still online. He could certainly comment on that, maybe explain further. But I mean, wow, you got a lot of detail in there, and it's great. And I think you could parse it down. And yeah,
I just want to make sure that, you know, we're clear on what we're directing her to do.
Mhm,
Are we, I mean, we don't want to direct Danny, or who, do we direct?
Yeah,
That's fine, okay,
council
good.
direct your staff. Tell
Great,
me what you
thank you.
want.
Thank you. Okay, I just want to make sure we're telling her the same thing, so she might convince
I think that as we're trying this out, and I'm thinking that maybe another, like a lighter version, a more condensed version of the minutes with reference to, of course, as long as we're accepting our recordings as being part of the record, that's sufficing, like discussion about XYZ, if there's anything pertinent. Certainly actionable items and voting need to be detailed, certainly, but some of the details of the conversations might need to be minimized a little bit.
Any further comments before we open up to the public?
I just wanted to say that the timestamps from the videos are great.
Mhm.
So, you know, so even if it's not a linkable thing, people can go to find that spot on the video.
Thank you very much for that. Does the public wish to comment on the minutes?
Welcome.
Yes, Adeline, go ahead.
Yeah. I suggested this to Annalie Gonzalez, our last city clerk, because she was really frustrated with doing the minutes. And one idea I told her was to simply list the names of all the people who made a public comment. It's really hard to quote people exactly as to what they're saying. So I think just a list, and then we have it all on video. We're all watching the meetings on video. So that's another thought, which would really simplify things.
Thank you. Any further public comment before I open up to Zoom? Yes, go ahead in the back.
I agree with Terry Bayless. I do agree. It's trying to find ways to streamline it. The only thing I would be concerned about is that the minutes have to be kept in perpetuity. They have to, they are our legal record of what happens, even through all the years. And technology gets old, it dies. You can't keep a video. If you don't update it all the time, there's going to come a point when you can't access it anymore. So to say that that would be your permanent record of what happens, because sometimes you do need to look back and say, wow, was that taken care of? Did anybody look at that issue a long time ago? Well, 50 people were here and they were all in opposition to this, or they were all in favor, and that's why our council made that decision. So even though I think streamlining is a great idea and not quoting everybody word for word, I think it's important to know when people show up here what they said. Were they in favor? Were they in opposition? And what our council's kind of overall discussion was.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further public comment?
I just want to say that we used to have more public present, and I think it's impossible unless we have like a sign-in sheet, and we're not requiring that. So it makes it still like it may or may not be completely accurate as far as how many people showed up, because we're not seeing that reflected. Anyway, it's a tough one.
We probably could have like a list of people who spoke, though, I'm assuming, if they wanted to, like a sign-in sheet, but that wouldn't be required. Or we can talk about that another time. I don't want to deviate too far from our minutes.
Yeah.
Lynn Glenn, go ahead.
Yes, I just wanted to say I agree with what Terry said. I would be concerned that if the video record is to be the legal record of what happened in the meeting for perpetuity, what entity is going to keep that video record up forever? I'm wondering how that would work. And I don't know what entity keeps the video records of the city council meetings now, but I think that would be important to make sure that whatever is decided is a good record for the future of what happened at the meetings.
Great, thank you, Lynn. Julie Christie, go ahead.
Yes, I have to appreciate the council's patience with deliberance on our minutes acceptance. We are going kind of outside of the agenda here and having discussion, which I think obviously by the input, it's warranted to carry this on to another agenda item perhaps in the future. But getting back to the actual agenda item, I would commend the council to motion to approve the minutes adjusted as Michelle suggested with her additions, and to hold off the minutes that Elise is sending her notes to, and we can bring those back and accept them. In the past, we've gotten huge clumps of minutes. It was really super repetitive. You guys have actually had more on your plate lately than anybody dreamt of. So I don't give you any discredit for having a bunch on your table right now, but let's go ahead and motion and approve the ones we can, and we can bring the ones back that still need to be edited. Thank you.
Did anybody have a chance to look over June 10th closer? So you have some,
I do want to bring up,
Go
well,
ahead.
we're still in public comment.
Well, hang on. Any further public comment before we bring it back to council? All right, go ahead.
Thank you. I did want to bring this up to you, lines 245 and 246 from the June 10th meeting. Wiyot is spelled W-I-Y-O-T.
Thank you.
And I know you have a lot that you're trying to catch up on.
Thank you.
All right, can we entertain a motion?
Motion to approve the minutes or,
With corrections.
So go ahead.
go ahead, Michelle.
Michelle, go ahead.
I
I
withdraw my
move
partial motion.
that we approve the minutes from May 19th, May 21st, May 27th, and June 10th with the corrections noted and the amendments to the names.
Lynn, sorry, go ahead and mute. All
I would second that.
right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
It passes. Thank you very much. Moving on to item number 8, public comment. The public is invited to present petitions, make announcements, or provide other information to the city council that is relevant to the scope of authority of the city of Blue Lake, that is not on the agenda. Who would like to speak first? Go ahead.
Good evening, everybody. TJ Lynch, 11904 West End Road, and my parents do live here in Blue Lake. Good evening, council members, acting city manager, and residents of Blue Lake. I'm here tonight to give you a personal thank you to your planning and building staff for their assistance with permitting for my parents' residence in town. Based on previous experiences in other municipalities, it was a very simple process to help put in an ADA ramp. As a point of note, though, one of my concerns that I want to address tonight is your staff had to deal with me as opposed to my parents because of some of the interactions that have been in the past, and there was concern from my family that some of those interactions would not be received well or having any interaction. So that's why I had to step in. So just as a reminder, the staff has to be cognizant of their interactions and working with the public. This kind of leads into a permitting in general statement. What I did was a temporary access for ADA for my dad. Okay, if I had to go through a ministerial process to get a permit for an ADA ramp, that was not necessary because it's temporary structure and it's not attached to the building. I hope any other resident of the community that is using a park or using a facility is using those same permitting processes and is abiding by that. And then secondly, as someone that lives in the sphere of influence of Blue Lake, I'm also asking for the public censure and or removal of 2 of your public safety commission members. Based on conversations I've heard and seen on the March 3rd, 2025 Public Safety Commission, there are 2 members, commission members Ricka and Jones, that are showing bias and the inability to use impartial thought. They have openly allowed the city to be at risk for lawsuit from Elon Musk, just as similarly to what happened with the California Coastal Commission by Commission Member Jones's comments on that night. Secondly, they've also opened up concern and defamation with a former city employee based on the inability of a former police chief to be present or have any interaction based on the objections of one of the commission members. That shows bias and the inability to have impartial thought. So I'm going to ask for you guys to consider that. And finally, as a community member that's lived in Blue Lake my entire life, excuse me, I'm ashamed of how this community is acting. Your behavior is deplorable. Insults, calling people belligerent drunks, threatening people's lives is not democracy. Okay? Civil discourse is the main component of any representative government. I came tonight because I'm pissed. As someone that's lived here, that has worked with many of you, that has been around for a long time, I'm tired of it. Do better. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next. Yes, go ahead.
Adeline Jones. Last night, the council voted 4-0 to not contract with Power Transmission. I spoke about the real need to have the dangerous former Blue Lake power structure demolished as soon as possible. If any council person has a better idea of how to get this attractive nuisance out of the district, I and many of my fellow citizens would like to know what that plan is. It's easy to vote no on an issue, but the real hard part is to come up with a constructive plan. Next, I'd like to say that it was quoted in the paper that I'm leading the recall of the 3 city council persons. This is not true. I'm just one of many citizens who have watched with dismay as this council ousted our wonderful city manager, Amanda Mager, and put our city in jeopardy of being fined by the state for not adopting our housing element. And then I'd like to publicly thank all of our hardworking commissioners on our 5 commissions: Arts and Heritage, Planning Commission, Public Safety, Economic Development, and Parks and Recreation. Last Wednesday, there was a very educational Parks and Recreation meeting where the history of the Redwood Coast Mountain Biking Association Bike and Skate Park was presented and explained. It's too bad more people did not attend. And then finally, as you can see, I'm wearing my proud to be a Blue Lake YIMBY. That means yes in my backyard. It was stated by one citizen here a few weeks ago who thought we needed affordable housing, but just not in the district. Does she or anyone else have any ideas of any pieces of land in Blue Lake where it could be? Keep in mind, we are less than 1 square mile. What are we going to do? Convert the tot lot, the town square? The Powers Creek district is the perfect spot for an affordable housing complex. And I look forward to the groundbreaking.
Thank you. Further public comment? Yes, sir.
So I remember hearing a while ago that we're a zero waste city, and I don't know if that's true or not, or even what that exactly means, but it would be sad to take down the power plant buildings. It's not toxic, and I'm glad that we held off because we can use those if we fix them up until we figure out what's next. We do have to make it safe. I don't know why it wasn't made safe earlier. There were big holes in the fences for a long time, and why the electric, those kinds of things. But the other thing I wanted to say, oh, shoot, I forgot. But anyway, so I did get in touch with Redwood Energy Authority, and we don't have to sell that to them. There would be interest in renting the hookup to other battery storage places. Historically, we didn't sell off pieces of property because we wanted to have things there that created jobs, and that wouldn't really there's other things that we could do there that could create goods and services for our community that we badly need. So I'm glad we're not rushing into that. And I know you guys will make it safe as soon as you can. And I would love to help whatever way I can. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Who's next? Yes, go ahead.
Marty Granger, something less serious. I just want to affirm what I vaguely stated last month about getting rid of the arts and heritage. I know this isn't a real critical decision, but it just seems like it makes sense for some reasons, like less work for the staff and maybe a little easier for the council to manage. And the other reasons are the other commissions are really objective goals that are planned for and accomplished. But the arts and heritage is more subjective. It's not objective like the other commissions. It's more creative. And I just feel like this is the opportunity where the people can be involved and participate. Like the economic development might want a new logo. Well, there might be lots of people in town that it could make a beautiful logo better than maybe 4 or 5 people that are on the commission. Or the planning commission, if they wanted to have a name for the housing development, I mean, they could put that out to the community, and the community could come up with a name that, and we could vote on it. And it would just encourage participation, and people that can't handle this, like me, some of the heavier subjects that are so complicated, but at least we can contribute. I mean, the Safety Commission, they might want to put out a flyer that somebody could make a creative flyer. So those are the reasons that I think that it would be a good idea to do away with it and let more of the community be involved in some of those decisions. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Any further public comment? Anyone else?
I think we got
Go
somebody
on.
here.
Okay, go ahead.
Going.
My name's Ron Hill. I'm a general engineering and electrical utility contractor. In the last quarter of 2023 and first quarter of 24, excuse me, I put together plans for the owners of the Blue Lake Power Plant. Excuse me. And we put plans together for decommissioning of the site. Try not to sneeze here. Excuse me. Anyways, we looked at remediating the equipment on site, pulling it off, and I'm sorry.
Do you want me to get you a tissue?
No, I'm just like, it's just sitting there ready to go. No, tissue isn't going to help. I had to take my inhaler before I got in here, and it's like I get in a room with close people, and something agitates it, and I'll start sneezing and coughing. Anyways, we worked with the plant owners on decommissioning the site. I'd like to propose that we come back and have a negotiations meeting with the council on remediating the site, removing the equipment. The owners of the plant would initiate the beginning part of the removal of the equipment. They would initially start the costs on that. I have plans for selling and repurpose and reuse of the equipment on site. So I would like to offer, my time to have that meeting and look at the possibilities of what we can do as far as, removing equipment, selling the equipment, getting the site completely, cleaned up.
And sorry.
Public comment.
Not supposed to ask you questions.
What's that?
We're not supposed to
can't
ask you
ask
questions.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I thought
We
you were
can
gonna
sit
ask
here
me
with
questions.
lots of curiosities, but we're not supposed to ask you any
Yeah,
questions.
so yeah, the owners are interested in starting this project. We can start here soon. Um, we have all this already worked out on cost and directions and plans on what we can do with the site. And that, again, that started in late 23, early 24. And so we're pretty much ready to go.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, thank you.
All right, Julie, go ahead.
I'm sorry, everybody. I'm here. You're in my pocket as I do chores. I'm so sorry, but I really appreciate Zoom. And I will give a tech check-in. I can hear everybody very well. Even earlier, John, when you handed your mic off, I could still hear the audience as well as I could prior to that. So I would suggest getting a conference speaker in the room. That is something that Marty has suggested in the past. It's very affordable. We have done a lot in the past where we just get donations from the community. That's what got Justin started. I hope your chair is still rocking. But we could get a conference speaker in there so everybody can hear better. Ventilation in the building, I will say, is a concern sometimes. I have sympathy with my prior speaker. I'm used to being outside and fresh air. When I go in the building a lot, I feel congested. So just keeping a good breezeway in there for everybody. But I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. But this council that we have now, right now, you guys, I've been involved with the city for a long time. And this is a blessing to us to have this council, regardless of the gaslighting and the misinformation that's being spread out through our public, which is unfortunate because a lot of people don't go to the meetings and they are online, so they're being taken advantage of. We have had so much advantage taking over the years. And I do believe now with our new council, we're going to get a lot more people like our prior speaker that are going to step forward. We had no relations with the Rancheria, our Yurok tribe. We had no relations with our neighbors across the river there because of our prior manager's dialect with them. And I believe those are going to resolve. I believe we're going to open up into a lot of ground that we can actually mitigate more community activity. So anytime anyone in the community would like to get together, who cares if we don't agree? We need to have a consensus. And let's come to that mutually and like adults. And I would love to have those opportunities. So thank you, Lori, for offering the potlucks and stuff like that. And let's make Annie and Mary Days super cool this year, you guys. August 3rd. Let's get her on.
Thank you. Becky, go ahead.
Hello, everyone. First, I want to apologize for earlier. So I do want to say something that PJ had said something earlier about this. So in the state of California, we know that a recall or any kind of petition that is solicited for signatures that needs signatures is called soliciting. So I found in Title 9, Public Peace and Safety and Welfare, Chapter 9.20 under Special Event Permitting, that seeing the tent over there in this town square, it does say that a special event shall mean any activity on public or private property. Then it says that for which is proposed and is characterized that is not intended for the use on that property. Sorry. Under 9.20.030, of course, no person or organization shall organize, conduct, or implement a special event without being issued that permit first. The exceptions, of course, are lawful picketing. They do not have to pay for the fee if it is for First Amendment rights. So that means freedom of speech. But of course, during a recall, you're not allowed to speak to the people. They're just supposed to read your recall. 9.20.120, the prohibited conduct of special events. If you have a special event permit, selling, vending, or soliciting are absolutely prohibited under that permit unless the permittee allows it. Information for pertaining to that special event is the application says that you need to complete it if your event takes place on public property, including park rentals. So that being said, I still think that you have to have a permit if you set up a tent and a table and are soliciting signatures. So, all right, thank you.
Thank you. Let's call for public comment.
I have just a question.
Do you want to bring in the mic?
No, I'll speak loudly.
You have to be up there.
I'm getting up to leave. I just would, be over to City Hall to pick up a copy of whatever came out of the closed session. I'm sorry I wasn't here, but the phone call came and we walked over and you weren't already into the next item. So it shouldn't be a very long, thing, but I do want the written response.
Great.
I am entitled.
Great. Thank you.
Okay. Danny, will you give me a call when that's ready? Thank you. That's all.
Thank you.
And thank you for allowing it.
All right. Let's see here. Any further public comment? Seeing none, bring it back to council. All right. Moving on to the item number 9, the consent agenda, warrants and disbursements. Do we have any questions for staff on warrants or disbursements, or does the staff wish to comment on warrants and disbursements?
I have no comment other than we've still got Ryan on here, so if we could go as quick as possible and not have him here much longer, that'd be
Sure.
great.
Do you want to table? Like, can we table?
Can we just pass the consent agenda?
Yeah, that's unless you have some serious questions I can't address outside of this meeting.
No. Is there anything a follow-up phone call can't handle from?
Thank you.
I'm okay.
No questions? Does the public wish to comment on the consent agenda? All right, seeing none, we'll go ahead and bring it back to council for passage.
I move to approve the consent agenda as delivered.
Second.
All right, we have a first and second. All those in favor say aye.
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 It passes. All right, moving on to the next item. Consider accepting Tri-Pepe Smith's recruitment proposal for city manager. Ryan, would you like to comment on this item?
Yeah, thanks. So in your packet is the full proposal from Tri-Pepe Smith. Tri-Pepe Smith is an executive recruit firm that has recent experience in Humboldt County, including the executive director for HCOG, the executive director for Humboldt Bay Municipal Water District, and the executive director for Redwood Coast Energy Authority. And we also have, I believe, Councilmember Scafani has worked with Tri-Pepe Smith in the RCEA recruitment and spoke favorably of that firm. So I have a proposal provided from Christine Martin, who would be our chief recruiter, to conduct a comprehensive search for a permanent city manager. The proposal goes through in detail information about Tri-Pepe Smith, about the employees who would be assigned to the city's recruitment effort. It goes through in detail the methodology and approach, including a 4-step approach that begins with developing a candidate profile, developing marketing materials, outreach and recruiting, evaluation and screening. And the council would have opportunities at each of those milestones to approve publication materials. And obviously, when we get to evaluation and screening, a opportunity or as many opportunities as the council would like to not only review candidate information, but conduct interviews. Pricing is obviously a concern. The price proposal has an estimated fee of $15,000 broken out into the various components of the search, with a dollar amount assigned to each of the 4 steps. It also has estimated expenses of $2,500 to get an all-inclusive price of $15,000. Tri-Pepe Smith would also provide additional support services beyond the scope billed at their hourly rates, which are included in the proposal. I would note that the initial proposal that I got from Tri-Pepe Smith included 3 additional steps beyond the 4 steps noted in the proposal in your packet. Those additional steps were to actually conduct interviews, notify candidates of the city's decision, and assist in negotiating compensation packages. The price proposal for that was $25,500, and I believe the council wanted to keep it around $15,000. So Tri-Pepe Smith says they can remove those 3 additional steps and do the proposal that's in your packet at $15,000. I would certainly recommend that as part of it, well, take a step back. Should the council approve the proposal, we would contract with Tri-Pepe Smith using the city's standard consulting agreement with this proposal attached as their scope of work. And I would also recommend that the council consider forming an ad hoc to assist in coordinating efforts by Tri-Pepe Smith as they move forward with the scope of work. In my discussions with Christine, they can get started as soon as they have their signed agreement, and there's time estimate included in the proposal. It's a 10-week total, but they can move as quickly or as slowly as the council directs. With that, I'll open it up for any questions that the council may have.
Ryan, I have 2 questions. One, when would how would the payment arrangement be set out? Would it be payments or upfront or at the end? How does that work? And then the second one is, what are your thoughts about this proposal professionally and looking at other experiences maybe with pricing?
Yeah, I think this, I'll start with the second question first. I think the $15,000 cost is much lower than what I've seen in other searches. I knew a local entity a few years ago spent $35,000 on a general manager recruitment. That included most of the things that are being done by Tri-Pepe Smith here. I think the advantage of working with Tri-Pepe Smith, and this is something Councilmember Stefani noted, is that they have their Humboldt information and demographics and information about the region at the ready. There's not a lot of regional research that they need to do. Obviously, they need to develop Blue Lake specific information and marketing materials, but they have a strong list of their network at their disposal from prior searches that eliminates a lot of the groundwork. In terms of how this is billed, my understanding is that they will require a retainer up front and then bill us on a time and materials basis. I believe the initial retainer is $7,000, and then they will bill us on a time and materials basis once that retainer has been depleted, and will be invoiced every 30 days based on work performed after receipt of a detailed invoice.
Thank you.
Reese, do you have any questions?
Nope.
Matt, do you have any questions?
He answered the questions I had.
Great. Ryan, do they give any guarantee of the candidates' length of time that they would have to work here? Or is this just the recruitment portion of it?
Yeah, this is different than a placement agreement. This is recruitment where, you know, they earn their fee as they do the recruiting. There's no guarantee of successful recruitment. And so that is not part of this.
Great, thank you. Do you guys mind if I open up to the public?
I have a question really quick. I noticed you guys didn't ask me the obvious question. Can you afford it? I hope you'll notice budget is on here later, and we will get into that into some detail. But I'm going to be very upfront in saying that if you plan to spend $15,000, I need to know exactly where you plan to pull it from, because we don't have that extra just laying around. just so you know.
Great.
Not opposed to recruiting, not opposed to doing the thing, just saying I'm worried about where's the money going to come from.
Fair.
I think we're all looking forward to digging into the budget and learning about where the money is and where it isn't, and what options we might have available. So thanks. Appreciate that.
Thank you. Let's go ahead and open up the public. Does the public wish to comment on this item? Adeline, go ahead, and then I'll get you next. Go.
So there's the International City Manager Association that I looked up city managers of Boulder and other great places and was very inspired by the city manager of Boulder, Colorado, who's now retired, who's the president of this association. And there's over 13,000 members. It costs $1,200 to join, and there's all kinds of, it's a great hub for finding qualified city managers who have had all kinds of experiences. And I don't know like who's allowed to look up people looking for jobs, but I think it's a great resource. I don't know who's I mean I would love it's cost $1,200 to join to be a member. So and I think it'd be fun. Like me and Adeline, we could get together and we could anyway, love you guys.
Thank you. Adeline, go ahead.
So I appreciate Danny Burkhart mentioning the financials, and that is what she is good at, I know. The ousting of our wonderful city manager, Mandy Mager, has already cost the city $30,000, and now we're looking at $15,000. I noticed that this group is from Irvine, and I'm wondering about the cost of transportation. I'm assuming some of this might be done remotely. That happens in the 21st century. I received a phone call about 3 weeks ago from the mayor of Fort Jones, California. Just a coincidence, in Siskiyou County. Her name is Madeline DeAndreas. I worked with her sister in Eureka City Schools. And also, they had a tie in their race at Fort Jones, too, which was interesting. And it was between her and another gentleman. And what ended up happening is the other gentleman said, I really didn't want to be on the council. You go ahead and be on the council. And then she became the mayor. Anyway, why she called me is she was really looking at what was happening in Blue Lake, and she warned us about hiring a new manager. She gave me some names, and I won't say them out loud here now, but of people that have gotten into little cities as managers and have really messed up the cities. I mean, caused lawsuits and have just wreaked havoc. So she said, just be careful when you're looking for a new city manager.
Thank you, Adeline. Okay. Any further public comment before I take it to Zoom? All right. Julie Christie, go ahead.
Yes, thank you, everybody. I do have faith in our council to proceed in the manner they feel with our management recruitment. I have faith in you guys for that. I would say that one thing I'd like review on is the contract. So with our prior, there was indemnification to that contract. And that was the same excuse that was given by that manager of why we shouldn't sign on with our sheriff's contract. Well, I feel like our managers should be responsible in some manner. And I do believe our contract should reflect that a little bit. Because of the prior negligence, we are now going to potentially incur a lot of issues because of prior management. And Ms. Prior Mayor, you're privy to all of that, and perhaps that's why you're always backpedaling. But we need to start pushing forward, and I support you guys moving with filling this position. However, we need to take the burden off Danny as soon as possible. And I suggest that even if we get a part-time or interim, that might be something more applicable. The manager's duties are really simplistic in a way when we have a bunch of departments that are working, including public works, city clerk, financial management, and we have people working within our city hall that are willing to be participants within this process. And I think that's been a little negligent lately too. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, last call for public comment. Seeing none, moving on to discussion, further discussion. So what does the council wish to do? This is an action item.
I would like to say that I've also had the opportunity to work with Tri-Pepe Smith, being on board of HCOG, and boy, did they hit it out of the park. This is not the type of organization that is going to bring in your random retiree who is indifferent to the community and is just checking off and the time clock to get their paycheck. Beth was the executive director of HCOG. Very impressive, very capable, very intelligent, very warm. And I was so sad to see her go. Wow. They put in Brendan Bird. Amazing, amazing placement there. So now Beth has moved on to RCA. So while you might look at Tri-Pepe Smith and see, oh, they're from Irvine, as Ryan pointed out and is included in this packet, they have been doing a lot of recruitment here in Humboldt. And they have people with all types of qualifications. They know this area. They really understand placement. I would be thrilled to be part of the ad hoc on this. One, just had the opportunity to work with Tri-Pepe Smith, but this is also in my wheelhouse too, in doing recruitment and interviews and such. So I'd be excited.
Michelle, any further comments?
Yeah, I wanted to just say thank you for the work, and I would like to work with an ad hoc or at least promote an ad hoc formation for this. I'm reluctant to take any action on this at this point, just given the fact that it's recruitment only, it's a lot of money. While I do want to relieve Danny of her hard work, I also want to be very thoughtful about this, given some of the flux and within this current council as far as other items that are taking our attention. I would promote, or I am going to request or suggest a pause on this until we have a minute to just kind of take a look at the other possibilities for recruitment, look at the possibilities for a contract, look at the possibilities for a temporary, look at some other options before making the move on this. And I'm happy to be part of an ad hoc to continue that discussion, but that is how I'm feeling right now.
Great. Ryan, would there be any additional fees beyond this, or is this a flat fee through the recruitment process?
Yeah, so the only expenses are estimated, 2,500. So they could certainly go beyond that. And then if we require work outside of the scope of work, for example, assistance in negotiating compensation package, have them sit through interviews and provide their feedback, that would be billed at their hourly rates. And so that would be in addition to the fees estimated in the proposal.
And just to confirm, this would be a successful recruitment, or this would just be like one person that bring forward? Is there any criteria on that?
So what they'll do is they will provide a slate of candidates to us based on their recruiting and based on folks that have expressed at least a preliminary interest in the position. And then we will have an opportunity to screen through all of the candidates. They don't guarantee a certain number, but they won't just bring us one and say, if you don't like this person, we'll bring you another. They'll give us the slate and then we can screen from there.
Okay. Okay. You want to go ahead, Elise?
I was just going to share that with RCEA. What they show in step 4 is kind of the part. Well, they did a great deal of work on the front end with the candidate profile. They came in and they interviewed staff all through the organization, and I really got a feel of what type of a person was being sought. and the marketing materials, and they did all that. And then they brought in, I was on an ad hoc committee to review the candidates. And so they kind of shortlisted for us, their candidates. We were able to review all of the applicants. But they, they kind of ranked like, I think maybe it was the top 5 or something. And then we conducted interviews. And they sat through the interviews. In those interviews, there was a panel interview with all the directors from the different departments, and it was also remote. Well, except for the local folks came in, or did they? No, that was all remote, I think. And then when we narrowed it down to a couple people, we had the ad hoc committee interviewed those folks and then went back to the board with a recommendation. So Enter Pepe Smith did. They did kind of advise us through that. They sat through all the interviews, remotely, and so they helped. I don't believe that they did the contracting, but I'm not certain about that piece. They did charge more than this for that recruitment, and they were, of all the recruitment firms that RCEA went out to and got bids from, they were the lowest. And
Had
the
they
others,
tried other options for recruitment?
had RCEA done that? No, it was not desired to do anything less than this. So just my experience with that situation. And they, RCEA is a fairly large organization with, some HR staff, but they felt that their recruitment warranted, a higher level than what they could do in-house. And also we don't have we can't burden our staff with this, and it'd be inappropriate for our staff to do this recruitment. So one way or another, we have to go outside of staff that we currently have to do this recruitment. We can't do an in-house recruitment for a city manager when we have an office staff consisting of like 4.5 FTEs. We can't make that part of their. It just wouldn't be, in my opinion, it wouldn't be appropriate to have some folks hire their new boss. We need to do that at a different level. So I'm supporting this proposal myself. I did wonder if we could do kind of a 2-step thing where maybe first we started out with a local only recruitment, because some of what they do casts a wider net. And see how that might pan out. But anyway, this is the proposal we have at this point. So I don't know if there's any adjustments that could be made, or
If there was an out of the area kind of recruitment success, where do like relocation fees and all of that have come into play?
Well, that's all.
Was that something that?
I'll say that with RCEA, we narrowed it down in the end to 2 candidates. One of them was out of the area, one of them was not. And we did the classic Humboldt County.
Yeah.
If somebody comes to Humboldt County, are they going to stay? Anyway, but regardless of where your candidates come from, there might be a little wiggle room in this, but there might not. It seems like I think perhaps Ryan's already gotten the wiggle out of this proposal. So
well, I would say it is billed on a time and materials basis. So if we want to stop after step 1 or 2 or 3, or limit the scope of any of these items, we have the ability to do so just by not authorizing certain work. On top of let's see, on top of page 16, the proposal says that support is built on a time and materials basis that allows you the flexibility to ramp up or ramp down efforts according to budget and priorities. So I think, as we move through this, we will have some budgetary control over how expansive their search is. Maybe we ask them to do local first, and then expand the search. And so there may be cost saving opportunities as we go through it.
And I would imagine maybe before we decide to contract with them, we can have a meeting with them. We could have them on Zoom to kind of discuss some of those possibilities and options before we decide to do it.
Is that an option, Ryan, do you think?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, Christine Martin, she, I'm sure would be happy to come and present to the board and the council, ask and answer your questions. She herself was a city manager for 21 years, or an assistant city manager in the city of Livermore. So she's very familiar with how this process works and presenting to council. So I can certainly arrange that.
Thank you.
Yes, I do have some comment.
I just wanted to let the staff know there is an option to table and then bring it back in the same meeting if we wanted to hear about our financial situation first before we make a motion. I just wanted to, and we can bring it back during the same meeting. So just want to let you guys know that if we do want to hear the financial situation before we make a decision on this.
Good point, thank you. Yeah, so we've been, I think, almost 2 months just to get to this point. And, I have made, I brought forward on at least 3 occasions other avenues to be able to recruit for both interim and for permanent city manager, and those have basically been rejected. So at this point, I don't know why we want to continue to dither about when this is what these people do, and they can help develop the process with us. It has an excellent sort of a cafeteria type menu as we go along. But I think any more slow rolling on this only hurts the staff and hurts the city. We really have, as a council, haven't had the ability to even do a visioning for the year, or to be able to reach out to our community and say, what do you want from your budget? We haven't really been able to shape any policy. And I don't see how any of that is really how we're going to move out of this cycle of kind of being reactionary without getting some other staff in place and also alleviating the staff that we have. I don't see the benefit in waiting any longer. Any other proposal that's come up has been rejected. So if you don't want to use express personnel, if you don't want to recruit for interim, and you don't want to sign in with these, it sounds like you don't want a city manager. I look at what all the different hats that Danny is wearing, and we have a new staff also trying to cover, and it'd be nice to get the staff back more to their original positions and let them flourish in that. But it's up to us to get this moving.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Any more comments before we consider a motion? Or
I would motion to table and hear on the budget first.
we have a motion.
I'm in agreement with that. If we can bring it back later this evening.
I just want to clarify, Danny, that is correct. We can pull it from the table once we table it.
Ryan, how would, can I get your input on that? Thank you.
Yeah, so I missed that. Is the proposal to table it until later in the agenda?
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah.
Just gonna keep him on.
That's perfectly okay.
Do we need to keep you here for that? Or can we direct Danny to relay information?
No, I can check in with Danny to see what the ultimate outcome is, and I can follow up with Christine as appropriate.
Okay, great.
Okay.
All right, we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
I'd second.
Does the public wish to comment any further on this item? Seeing none, bring it back to council for a vote to table. Does the council wish to vote to table?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, yes, we voted to table.
Right.
All right, so moving.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan.
Response to ACD letter. This is a discussion direction item. Is Gary here for this?
No, I'm just supposed to get your guys' directions and relay them to Gary.
Okay.
Can I ask a favor?
Yeah.
When the screen looks like that, we get to see ourselves, but we don't see all who's attending the meeting. So I would
Whoever.
like if we could see more people.
I mean,
You can
the
see.
list
I don't
is
know if
on
there's-
the side right there.
Those are all the attendees?
Yes, those are all the people.
Oh.
When they put their
Yes.
hand up, they come forward, so we can't miss anyone who wants to
Well,
comment.
sometimes when you split the screen a different way, all those little boxes get smaller, and then you can get a sense of how many people are here.
Mhm. You can do
16 of them.
gallery, you
16.
can do, yeah, speaker view.
All right. Well, let's keep going with the HCD letter.
Thank you.
Oh, there's
Oh,
Gary.
there's Gary.
Hi, Gary.
He's here.
Oh, Gary is here. You were right.
Stealthy.
Yes, I am here
Gary.
this evening.
Oh,
It's
good.
your turn.
All right, Gary. Who would like to give us some information on the HCD letter? Danny or Gary?
Gary, go for it.
Okay. So as you saw
Sir?
in Danny's staff report, we did request clarification from HCD about what specifically they meant by moving up adoption of the housing element by a month or two. And I'm glad we requested clarification because they did clarify that they meant both adoption of the housing element and the rezoning action. And in essence said that both be submitted sooner than stated in the city's original timeline, and noted by that meant with 1 to 2 months as a minimum suggested change. So that's the response we received from HCD. They're in essence asking the city to move that timeline up a bit. So we'd be looking for direction from the council on a potential response or whether to respond to what HCD requested.
Gary, did they offer to provide any additional legal services or any additional legal advice? That was one of our questions, I believe, to assist with questions that we may have.
So HCD's staff is always available to assist jurisdictions with complying with housing law. So certainly, I'm not sure that would necessarily be in the form of legal advice, but their staff and their housing policy department and other relevant departments are typically available for technical assistance.
Great, thank you. Council, do you have any further questions?
Can I add to
Yeah, sure.
Gary's summation of the thing? I would like to bring to council's attention that the housing element cycle is about to restart, and we will be doing this all over again very shortly. Just
Great.
to keep that in mind.
And just to clarify that point, so I know that this current cycle goes through 2027. Does it go all the way through the calendar year of 2027, or is there a point during the year where we switch from the 6th cycle to the 7th cycle?
I'd have to look at the exact date. I can't answer that question at this time.
Okay, thank you. And the other question would be then, if we do the housing element update and it gets certified in the next 6 or 8 months, is there a whole bunch of changes that are going to be asked for the next cycle? Or we don't know yet?
I would say generally that housing element law tends to change a lot. They're always adding new requirements. And we have heard from HCOG, there will be a meeting tomorrow where they will be presenting the overall allocation that's proposed for the county as a whole and talking about the methodology on how to split it amongst all the various jurisdictions in the county. And our understanding is that number is a bit higher than it was for this current cycle. So jurisdictions will have to plan for even more housing than they did in this current cycle.
Great.
Everybody together.
You should get an Oscar for that.
So awesome.
Any further questions from council before we open up to the public? All right, does the public wish to comment on this item?
All right. I recommend that the council move the timeline. We're just splitting hairs here. I know we don't like it when the state tells us what to do. Nobody likes to be told what to do. In a perfect world, a city would look at its citizens and the amount of housing they have and say, we need more housing. We don't have children at the school. We don't
we don't want firefighters living in the fire hall, that kind of thing. That's a perfect world. And the city would say, yeah, let's make more affordable housing. Unfortunately, we don't live in a perfect world. And a lot of cities, a few cities anyway, are trying to fight the state. And it's a losing battle. It's just the way it is. We need to have affordable housing. And I appreciate Gary talking about the fact that it might go up in 2 years because people are really honed in on, well, we only need 35 houses or, dwellings. But then in 2 years, they might increase that by 10. So that's why we were looking at more like 40 to 45. Anyway, I'm in favor of affordable housing.
Thank you. Further public comment? No one? Julie Christie, go ahead.
Yes, thank you, council. Everybody's had good due diligence with patience this evening. I appreciate that. As far as our housing element goes, I don't want to do tit for tat, but dang, our prior speaker, you know how many years I sat in public comment with many other speakers telling the facts of we need a general plan update, we need descriptive analysis of what was redacted, what was added, what was state mandated. We have promoted infrastructure and public safety as a priority for site approvals and zoning. And you know what? You want to know the perfect place to put some housing? Right where you guys are sitting. I'm not joking. That is one of the perfect spots. So, as far as we continue this process, just do due diligence. Gary, I hope you have some ethics at this point to follow through with due diligence to make sure these things are followed through on, and our council as well, and reach out to HCD. Thank you for doing that. It's all we needed to do in the first place instead of getting all this gaslight and lies. I'm sorry. I just get fed up sometimes, you guys. We've worked really hard on this, and there are a lot of things that we do need to adjust. I do believe it deserves a special meeting so that we're not overwhelmed like we are tonight, so we can go into greater dialogue and perspective of the community and move forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any further public comment on Zoom? All right, seeing none, bring it back to public here. Does anyone wish to comment last time? Okay. All right, seeing it none, go ahead and bring it back to the council. What do we want to do?
Well, if we bring that, if we bring the HI 14 into the December deadline, do you think that'd make them happy? Gary?
Yeah, I mean, they're asking for a minimum month or two for each of these
Right.
items, so that would seem to meet the request.
So yeah, if we try to just do them both by the end of December, or maybe we try to say we'll do them by December 15th. That's total of 2.5 months on one item and half a month on the other item. Hey, that's a total of 3 months. How about that?
And you're talking about both elements, both pieces of
Both
the
pieces,
requirement.
December 15th.
I'm fine with that. I think my original back on May 27th was that we would try for November 30th and December 31st, but
Seems like
that's a
they
compromise.
maybe have a thing about backing it right up to the end of the year.
Yeah, gonna get that.
Yep.
That in.
Councilmember Napier? Yeah,
Yeah,
December 15th?
good.
For both.
For both.
Yes, for both, yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I think just to clarify with Gary, and I assume the answer will be yes, but I think he had to put zoning sometime afterwards, maybe it was in that February, but you're also obviously, I assume, comfortable with December 15th for both?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's do it.
Danny, do you have any comments?
I think 12:15 is great.
Great.
Let's do it.
And I did have one more item for the council, the electronic sites inventory. I wanted to touch on that. So we have prepared a draft and we've looked through all the instructions on completing it. And we have a clarification we want to request from HCD. And that is, if we were to submit that now, does that lock the city into the site inventory that's currently in the housing element update? Or do you still have the ability to amend it through this review process that you want to conduct? I want to make sure we're not locking the city in and that you have that ability. So I would like to email HPD if the council would like us to ask for that clarification. If that's the case and they say, yeah, it does lock you in, we would expect you not to make any amendments after that, then I would change the timeline and possibly just align it with when we submit the housing element update.
Okay.
Gary, just confirming 12/15 for everything then?
That would probably be where I pivot. If they
Okay.
respond, that it would lock you in for the site inventory in the element, yes.
Okay.
I appreciate your clarifying that question about the sites. So that makes sense to get that clarification before you make that commitment.
Would it be fair to say that anytime you feel like you need clarification, you have our blessing? Can we give a blanket blessing on, by all means, always get clarification if you feel it's necessary?
That seems reasonable.
Yes.
I agree.
I'm all for that.
Great.
Green
That's
light.
great. Appreciate that.
Okay, so can we get a motion to change or continue our conversation?
So I would move that we make the deadline for submission of the housing element update and program HI 14 to December 15th, 2025.
Second.
Oh, we have first and a second. Any public comment? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Gary.
Great.
Thanks.
Okay.
All right, moving on to commission appointments, item number 12. It's a discussion action item. Do we have our potential commissioners here?
We do.
Barbara Russell, would you please come forward?
Sure. Okay. So first I want to say that if you appoint me, I'm happy about that, but I'd also be happy to be a group and be something a little less formal for a little while until maybe a commission is more required. So that would be okay with me too.
Well, I mean, I think at this point, we really want to
Okay.
get our Arts and Heritage Commission going
Okay.
at this time.
Okay.
If you are applying for it,
Yes.
would you mind asking or answering some questions?
Sure.
Great. I'm going to let the council ask first.
All right. What brings you passion for joining this commission?
Well, I love arts and heritage and how it can help how it can move a people forward because we can share ideas and we could learn to understand each other. And also we can foster creativity that could help solve our problems coming from the community up.
I like that.
So,
Thank you.
I know you also expressed Kat, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I know you also expressed interest in the economic development
yeah.
agency as well. How would you blend the two together?
I think that they very much do blend when we do things that support arts and crafts and is small business development. I think everybody's got the potential to do something to contribute and it can just help get some of those creative juices flowing. And I think that small business development and like old-fashioned skill sets is something that can also bring people together politically. Like I think too, when you want a tree to grow, you don't cut it at its roots. You know, you take care of those roots, and we then through imagining what's possible and through art we can express that, you know, to each other non-verbally or however, you know, and so get like I see all I see in Blue Lake is opportunity and potential because it's not wrecked yet. It's not all built up. We are so lucky, and we're a city, so we have a lot of creative license, truthfully, and so it's exciting to be able to imagine something that can make sense and include everybody, you know, economics from the bottom up. And like to see everybody learn to appreciate each other's success. And, you know, and to me, that's also safety. That's also community safety and build self-esteem and local food. I mean, so many ways it's good.
Great, thank you.
So,
Elise,
I'm good.
you're good, no questions? Any further questions?
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Oh.
A lot of times when people think of the arts, they think of the visual arts.
Mm.
But music also has been a very strong element here
Mhm.
and Blue Lake, and yet sometimes it seems like it's a little underrepresented. Do you have any particular interest or passion in music and how that might help transform?
Arts comes in so many forms, expression and creativity. Yeah, absolutely. I love music. I sing. I don't necessarily, you know, I mean, I appreciate it. I'm haven't practiced piano for a while.
Well, we don't
But
need
yeah,
you to be a performer.
yeah, like for me, arts is not just for decoration. You know, it's something that can inspire each other.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
I
welcome.
appreciate that.
Does the public have any questions? I'll bring my mic forward.
Mm.
Or do you want me to bring you?
I'll share with
Um,
Barbara.
No, I just want to say that Barbara and I disagree on some things, but unlike what some people have said this evening and at other meetings, I don't think we all need to agree on everything. It would be a boring world if we did.
We're a stronger fabric if we don't, and we can still come together.
So, I mean, on commissions, that's what gives us the lively dialogue and ideas come out. And so I'm encouraged by all kinds of disagreements and agreements wherever they
We can still come
happen.
together and appreciate each other
Exactly.
and listen to each other. Oh, that was really nice.
Great, thank you.
Great.
Any further public comment? Julie Christie, go ahead.
Yes, John, do we have our other applicant in the building to speak tonight, or is Barbara the only one?
We have,
Because I'd like to hold my public comment until both applicants have spoke, if that's fine.
that's fine.
Are you gonna accept them individually?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'll speak on Barbara now then. I would like to promote her application and the contingency that Arts and Heritage can warrant its viability to the city. I do think it's great that she sat through the meeting tonight and was there to speak this evening, and has gone to prior meetings. And if I'm busy and miss my next applicant, those are the attributes I'd like to see in applicants, that they've actually come and endured some of the politics that we have to deal with. They're willing to sit through meetings, get up to a podium, speak, and have due diligence with being reciprocals of our council through our community. That's the next thing is, you know, you're really directing these commissions, and I just want to make sure everybody that's applying is adhering to that contingency within their application. So yeah, I'll leave it at that if I miss the next one. Thank you.
Great, thank you. All right, does the council wish to entertain a motion? If there's no further public comment? Seeing none?
I would move to appoint Barbara Russell to the Arts and Heritage Commission, please.
Second.
The first and the second, all those in favor say aye.
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 It passes.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right, our next applicant is Rua. Do you want to come forward? Thank you for coming.
Welcome to Blue Lake.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and why you want to be on the Arts and Heritage?
Yeah, sure. So I've just been in Blue Lake for a couple of months, about 3 months now, and I've lived in Humboldt County for over 20 years, and went to grad school here, moved away, came back, and I'm an artist. I'm a writer. I'm an indie publisher. I'm a teacher at College of the Redwoods, and until COVID, it was at Cal Poly as well. I've had a very varied past, so I have a lot of experience in a whole bunch of different varied areas. I really respect the comment that was it Lisa made just at the last comment there, that I do believe it's important to show up and to know what's going on. Admittedly, I'm new. So I don't know all the politics yet, which can be a blessing and a curse because I'm objective.
It's a blessing.
Yeah.
But I think it is really important that someone that wants to be on a commission, and I second what Barbara said and what Marty said earlier, that I'm happy to, I'm applying for the commission. I'm happy to be on that, but I can also see benefits of being on a group and being able, I really believe in public input. And so I think being on the commission, that would be one thing I'd really want to push for, is getting lots of public input on things, getting the community more involved in choices that are being made for the city of Blue Lake. That's so important. And it's empowering and it brings people together. So some of me.
Great, thank you.
Awesome.
I'll go right to left, if that's okay, Kat.
Great. And really, truly, we're just so happy to see this energy and the positivity and the diversity. And I'm going to ask you the same thing. Where do you stand on like music and incorporating that into the, into the Arts and Heritage Commission and the fabric of Blue Lake?
Well, music, theater, visual arts, ceramics, even public jams, as far as like poetry jams. Those are so important for a community. And the city of Blue Lake, we have these awesome public performances every week. Lizzie Moonbeam down at the pub, and lots of rockin' things happen down at the brewery. I think Barbara has talked repeatedly about possible festivals and fairs and how we could bring something like that to Blue Lake, and involve all the different varieties of art. So you might have street jugglers, you might have musicians, you might have painters, muralists, another version of the what's it called, the pastels on the plaza kind of thing for Blue Lake. I mean, there's so many opportunities depending on what the people of Blue Lake would like to see happen in their town.
Great, thank you. I'm sorry, go ahead, Michelle.
Oh yeah, I just really appreciate both Barbara and, is it Rua or Cindy?
Cindy's my legal name, but
Okay.
I've been going by Rua for about 10 years now.
Okay, well, I really appreciate your approach, and it's really given me a chance to reflect a little bit. I tend to be my worldview tends to be very linear. And it seems to me that you two are bringing in a more relative, relational, holistic kind of approach that could be used as maybe like a builder's approach. And if any of you are not familiar with builders, look up builders. And it's really what we do need in this community right now, is building our community. And it's I think that your ideas are very inspirational to me right now. I'm getting lots of good feelings about arts and heritage and the possibilities of a builder's community, and moving forward with that. But I welcome you both to, I'm just going to say, welcome you both to this commission and the community.
Thank you. If I pass, then I would appreciate that.
It's looking so shaky.
I know.
Not so
I'm on pins and needles up here.
Out of all your qualifications, what are you most proud of?
Which are many.
I think it was probably the project that was the hardest, and that if you asked me now if I wanted to do it, I would say no, never again. But it is the thing I'm proudest of, and that's putting together the first anthology of plein air painters for Humboldt County. It was 3 years of really hard work, and it started to come together just as COVID hit. So everyone who was going to work on it with me backed out. And to go through a project that normally takes 15 or 20 people working as a team together, all on your own, was daunting and hard, but I didn't give up. And I think that says a lot about me, that I've struggled with health and all kinds of different challenges in life, but I have learned through a lot of hard knocks not to give up.
Thank you. Awesome. Elise?
Well, I met Rua yesterday at Coffee Club, and that was enjoyable.
Happy birthday to you.
And anyway, I would just, I don't really have any questions. I think we got to know each other a little bit yesterday, and there you go.
Does the public have any questions for Rua? Do you want to share the mic?
I'll share with her. Yeah. You know, I like that you said you only lived here for 3 months. Is that right? Because, you know, I don't care if people have lived here for 3 months or 30 years. Because to me, if you love Blue Lake, you want to serve, you're so qualified. I think we're just lucky to have you. And thank you so much for applying to this. And I have a very special place in my heart for arts and heritage because I was mayor at the time when we got that commission together. And so it's a special commission for me. But when I see people like you and Barbara step forward, we're just very, very lucky. And thank you.
It's an internet connection issue. It's not, nothing I can do about it.
And it's trying to reconnect.
It's trying.
Okay. Yikes. Okay. Well, okay.
Well, we have a recording, right? So
We have that recording.
Okay.
All right. Well,
As I said, we were relying on that recording.
all
I
right.
would like to move that we appoint Rua to the Arts and Heritage Commission.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Hang on. Does anyone wish to comment? We lost Zoom for a moment on Rua's appointment.
Okay.
Last call for comment.
I don't know.
All right, we have a first and a second to appoint Rua to the Arts and Heritage Commission. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
It passes. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh,
All righty, let's see. We have a 5-minute stretch break.
Yay.
Right.
Arts and Heritage is
I'm
now
really glad I
form
put that on
a
there
quorum.
now.
Yes.
Yay. Yay.
Nice. Let's start working on it.